Welcome back, everyone. You've completed 6 amazing lessons so far, and today is the big one. We're diving straight into an epic, high-energy anime quest to revise literally everything from Unit 2.1. By the end of this adventure, you won't just be a student, you'll be an absolute ICT champion. Let's do this.
So, I gotta ask, are you ready to become an ICT champion? This is our final trial. I'm challenging you to recall everything we've learned about collecting and storing data. Seriously, if you can master this, you can master anything. So let's power up and jump right in.
Section 1. The Ultimate Mind Map.
All right, let's look at the incredible journey our data takes. First off, we ask a question. Then we collect the raw data. Next, we have to choose the right tool to store that data safely. After that, we validate it, just to make sure it's actually following the rules. And finally, boom, we process it into useful information. It's kind of like turning raw, unprepared ingredients into a delicious meal.
There's a really clear difference between data and information. Raw data is just facts and figures. Things like 25 degrees Celsius, the color red, or 15 students. By itself, it doesn't really tell a full story, right? But when we process it, it becomes information, like the temperature is rising. Just remember this secret memory tip. Data plus processing equals information.
Now, there are 4 main types of data we collect. First, we have numerical data, which is all about numbers, like your age or your test marks. Then there's categorical data, which uses names or words. Think of your eye color or your favorite pet. Next up, discrete data. These are whole numbers we can count, like the exact number of students in a class. And finally, continuous data, which we measure and can actually include decimals, like your exact height or the precise temperature outside. I want you to pause for a second. Can you guess one more example for each of these? Awesome job.
Section 2. Top questions answered.
Okay, so a huge question we always get is, should I use a spreadsheet or a database? Well, use a spreadsheet when you have a smaller amount of data and you want to use rows and columns to do some quick calculations or make some cool charts. But you want to use a database when you have massive amounts of information. We're talking thousands of records, like a whole school or library, and you need to search, sort, and filter through all of them super fast.
Next up, sensors versus data loggers. What's the difference? Well, a sensor is a device that actually measures changes in the environment around us, like temperature, light, or sound. The data logger, on the other hand, is the electronic device that automatically collects and stores those readings. Just remember this really powerful sentence. Sensors sense, loggers remember. And here's another crucial pair you need to know. Validation and verification. Validation checks if the data follows the rules we set, like making sure an age entered is a number between 5 and 18. We can even restrict cells using drop-down lists just to prevent mistakes before they even happen. Verification, on the flip side, is checking if the data is totally accurate and was copied correctly from the original paper source. Together, they are an absolute powerhouse team.
Section 3. Avoiding exam mistakes.
All right, watch out, because here is a giant trap. A really common mistake is thinking that validation means the information is absolutely true. Let's smash that misconception right now. The correct idea is that validation only checks if the data follows the rule. For example, what if a 10-year-old enters 15 into an age box that asks for a number between 5 and 18? Well, the computer accepts it because it perfectly follows the rule. But the information is still completely wrong. Remember, validation checks rules, not truth.
Here's another one to watch out for. Mistake. Believing data loggers are only ever used to measure temperature in science labs. Nope, not true at all. The correct fact is that data loggers measure humidity, light, pressure, and so much more in real-world places. We're talking hospitals, farms, smart homes, and even refrigerated transport trucks. Automatic data collection is literally everywhere.
So to dodge all these traps in your exam, you got to use my ultimate check strategy. C, compare carefully and actually read the question. H, highlight important keywords. E, explain clearly and think before you answer. C, check your answer one last time. And K, know your correct ICT vocabulary. If you use this strategy, I promise you're going to be unstoppable.
Section 4. The Practice Arima.
Welcome to Challenge 1. Look at these real-life situations and try to match them to the correct ICT tool. Calculating average marks? Yep, that's a spreadsheet. Storing 20,000 library books? Definitely a database. Collecting online registrations? That would be a form. Creating a school report? A document tool. And recording the weather every single hour automatically? That's our data logger. So how many of those did you get right?
Let's keep that energy up for challenge 2. Identify the data type. Height? That's continuous because we measure it and it can have decimals. Age? That's numerical because, well, it's a number. Eye color? Categorical, since it's a word. And number of books? That's discrete because we count them in exact whole numbers. You are absolutely crushing this.
All right, challenge 3. Time to be ICT mistake detectives. Imagine someone typed the word apple into an age box. Why is that an error? I want you to pause the explainer and really think about it. Got it? Exactly. We are missing a validation rule, specifically a type check that makes sure only numbers are allowed. Once again, restricting cells saves the day.
Section 5. Real-life challenges. Bus Battle 1. A farmer wants to measure the temperature inside a greenhouse every 30 minutes for a whole month. What tool and what sensor do they actually need? Go ahead, pause the explainer and think about it. You got it? They need a temperature sensor to measure the heat, and it needs to be connected to a data logger to automatically record and store those readings day and night.
Boss Battle 2. A supermarket absolutely has to keep their ice cream frozen during a long delivery in a truck. Which device is used here and what exactly does it measure? Pause and try to figure it out. That's right, they use a data logger connected to a temperature sensor to continuously monitor the cold. Good quality data literally saves the ice cream from melting.
Section 6. Becoming an ICT champion.
Let's take a look at our entire learning journey. First, we collect data. Then, we store data using the right tools. Next, we validate data to catch any pesky mistakes. After that, we process data, which magically turns it into meaningful information. And finally, that information helps us make better decisions out there in the real world. Seriously, good data leads to good decisions.
A massive congratulations to all you ICT champions. You've officially mastered Unit 2.1 and you know how to handle data like a true expert. But before we go, here is my final challenge for you. The next time you check a weather app, look at a school register, or even check a video game leaderboard, ask yourself, where did all that data actually come from and how is it being stored? Stay curious, keep exploring the tech around you, and I'll see you in our next explainer.